In March 2013, the PUC's PV flew to Poland. There he met Edison executive Stephen Pickett at a fancy hotel. The two talked about San Onofre, sometimes called songs. Pickett actually wrote about the meeting in an email to an Edison colleague in which he said he sat next to PV at dinner in Warsaw. And then he added, quote, "Working songs deserve combat pay." PV and Pickett soon came up with a framework for a settlement that determined who should pay for San Onofre's closure. That framework nearly matched the final settlement announced more than a year later. Customers were left with the bulk of the bill, $3.3 billion to pay for what's been characterized by the media as shutdown costs. But wait a minute. What about the $4.2 billion that's already in the decommissioning fund? Wasn't that supposed to cover those shutdown costs? The $3.3 billion customers will pay over the next 10 years is actually meant for Edison and SDG&E to still get a return on their San Onofre investment, even though the plant no longer works. The settlement also calls for customers to pay for all the power they now have to buy from other providers, with San Onofre offline. Ratepayer advocates say that's customers getting double billed. So let's tally all the costs customers are paying for San Onofre's closure. There's about $1 billion for the decommissioning fund that's already been paid, plus nearly $600 million for the steam generators. Then $3.3 billion in the settlement agreement to cover some of Edison's lost profit from San Onofre. About $5.5 billion for interim replacement electricity and plants being built to make up for San Onofre's power generation. If you add up those numbers, you get $10 billion. Divide by the number of customer meters, and you are paying about $1,600 for San Onofre. Most of those costs will be spun out over the next decade or two. Is it fair for customers to pay that much for the San Onofre debacle? Critics say no. The California Public Utilities Commission is tasked with protecting consumers, making sure they get electricity at a fair price, and regulating utilities. But it never investigated whether Edison was at fault for the San Onofre shutdown.